Good morning and welcome to Sports Shorts Radio on the last Saturday in the month of June. 4th of July is next Saturday. We'll have radio for you, but I'm Tommy Chrysan. Glad to be here. Glad to have you there. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles on a Sunday, hot Saturday in the capital city of Baton Rouge. Appreciate everybody in Lafayette and Lake Charles tuning in. We'll be here till 12 noon. Got a dynamite show lined up for you. Going to get into numerous topics. Hunter McCann, good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning, Tommy. Not doing too bad. Wrapping up group stages in the World Cup today.
Oh, you're the World Cup
guy.
guy.
Round of 32 starts tomorrow between Canada and South Africa.
We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today. Of course, we'll back it up. We are live at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge. They got a couple of specials. One of them's burnt ends. I had that for lunch earlier in the week. It's fantastic. I have bacon wrapped shrimp with pepper jelly. That's fantastic. Got the Saturday and Sunday brunch. It's all here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, the official catering service of LSU Athletics. Come on in. So you'll see us in the back. We're here just to the left of the bar. Hunter McCann and Tommy Chrysan. Ronnie Rance away from the microphone today. He's in Natchitoches with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. All the stuff going on there. Go to lasportshall.com. Let me get that up on the screen for you. We'll go to lasportshall.com. You can watch the induction ceremony tonight. They've been doing stuff for 3 days in Natchitoches, Alexandria, all over the place. Go to lasportshall.com. And, in fact, we'll talk to Ronnie Rance at about 10:15, and he'll update us on everything up in Natchitoches. We'll also tell you about River of Life capsules today. We'll tell you about Marchand's Interior and Hardware, your premier flooring dealer in the greater Baton Rouge area. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen, the Island Golf Course over in Plaquemine. We got Baton Rouge Rougarou. We got Lake Charles Gumbo Gators. Got all that stuff. And, of course, you'll tell everybody about Gage because they say it's not going to be a bad hurricane season, but all you need is one so-so hurricane. You need to be prepared. You'll tell them about Gage.
Absolutely. You want to make sure your home and business are protected.
And like I said, we'll talk to Ronnie Rance about 10:15 today. Joel Davis, Wooden Haven Furniture, Mid-City Government Street. We'll try to connect with him at 10:30. They got a tent sale going on at Wooden Haven Furniture, and he doesn't know if he'll be busy or not. And about 11:15 today, we'll talk with Patrick Scallett. He'll tell you a little more detail about River of Life capsules, why you should take them. Team Sports Shorts, big fans.
And I want to remind everybody, you kind of mentioned, put it up on the screen. We are live streaming across multiple platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Go to the Sports Shorts on Facebook and YouTube. It's the white background with red writing that says Sports Shorts. You can see us live stream. You can watch us anywhere. Watch us on your couch. Watch us on your TV. Watch us wherever you want on the go. Go do that. And then on Twitter, you can go to Tommy Chrysan's Twitter. It is live streaming right now over on there. It's very easy to watch us each and every week, right from your phone or your TV or wherever you want to watch it on the go.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a couple of weeks now. A couple of technical difficulties we sidestepped, so it's every Saturday you can watch it as well as listen to it. And then we'll put up some clips from the show during the rest of the weekend. And, of course, next Saturday we'll be at Fat Daddy's over in Plaquemine for 4th of July. So, good point there, Hunter. Let's see. We got somebody that's watching that work. I like it. Chuck's watching that work. Appreciate that, Chuck. All right, Hunter, we're going to get into a lot of things today. Let's back it up. Oklahoma wins the College World Series by beating North Carolina in the deciding Game 3 this past Monday night. Oklahoma lost their last four SEC series. They lost to Southeastern earlier in the year 3-0. LSU was 2-2 against Oklahoma, including a win in Hoover. They finished 11th in the league, and they're the World Series champs. It's all about, we've said this for years. It's like get hot at the end of May and June. Your reaction to the Oklahoma Sooners, the 7th straight SEC team to win a title.
Yeah, it could have been even longer if it wasn't for Arkansas not catching the foul ball. Let's put that out there. But about the Sooners, they're the prime example why in this day and age that SEC talent is all elite. We thought even LSU was all elite. We knew that if they put something together at the end of the year and made a run, that they were capable. On paper, those guys were capable of doing so. It's the same way for Oklahoma. Those guys were highly capable, and they finally figured it out at the end of the year and went on an absolute tear. And I've mentioned the past few weeks, and they bring it home. They reminded me so much of that Ole Miss team. They caught lightning in a bottle and went on their own run. to win a College World Series. And I mean, they looked like the better team out in the field in all three games. Truly, North Carolina grabbed game 2 that forced that game 3 on Monday night, but it was all Sooners very quickly Monday. They won 13-2. To send the Tar Heels packing, and I mean, that's once again where UNC has gotten themselves to the College World Series final and not been able to bring something home. They have yet to do it. But the SEC stands at the top of the pyramid once again, and I mean, it's just crazy that in college baseball, it truly feels like at any point, anything can happen. Where you talk about March Madness and how crazy it is, right? March Madness is crazy for its own antics in the beginning of the tournament, but every year it kind of shakes out at least the Final Four teams or teams that you would have thought they had a great chance of being there. Nobody was picking Oklahoma with 2 months left to go in the season to even possibly make it to Omaha, let alone be walking away with the whole dang thing. So props to them for being able to believe in themselves. It takes a lot of adversity to go, and they lost 23 games this year. That's usually not what's in the loss column for a team that brings home a national championship. But once again, you bring up TK. It's about getting hot at the right point in the year.
Well, it really is, and a couple of things. Not one team who went to Omaha last year even got to the Super Regionals this year, and I think we're going to see more of that going forward. We saw 5 Sun Belt Conference teams. Of course, Raging Cajuns play in the Sun Belt. Troy goes to Omaha. You had so many great stories. And I think that's going to continue as you go forward in college baseball. Yeah, everybody wants LSU in Omaha. And, I said it in January. I thought they'd be in Omaha. They're not. I think they'll be there next year. But last year, it all looked good on paper in January, 6 months ago. And then it just didn't work. For lots of reasons, mainly pitching, but it's just going to be wild and crazy. I think it has matched the excitement of March Madness because we always see those upsets in March Madness and team wins or team blows somebody out or a big time favorite gets by with a shot at the buzzer. Well, college baseball this year, whether it was Kansas or the Troy story, I mean it's just you just don't know what's going to happen. No, tough to gamble.
Yeah, absolutely, which is once again why I believe it's probably the hardest sport to gamble on, actually, college baseball. Compared to anything else, I think baseball in general is a crapshoot, right? But college baseball is in its own league. But talk about the SEC in general with the talent and the expectations. LSU will always be in preseason. You and I will always say the same thing. They are expected to be,
absolutely.
Yeah, with Jake Johnson, if he's your head coach and he's putting together a talented roster, he's never going to fall short of that, at least on paper, right? We always see how it shakes out when the season starts. That's exactly what happened this year. The expectation will always be Omaha. It just proves how difficult it truly is to get there in this day and age because we've talked about it before in the past. The way that the transfer portal is now set up, an NIL being at the main focus of all collegiate athletics, it is difficult to recruit, but the talent is now even more widespread and diverse across the country. By the end of the day, the best play in the SEC, and it is so difficult to have a winning SEC record across the year. And LSU was probably still better than probably 4 of those teams that maybe even made it to Omaha. Like if they played against those teams, they may have made it themselves. But it's all about how it shakes out that you're playing the best of the best every single week in the SEC.
Well, one other thing, and we'll move past the baseball. Every game that Oklahoma played in Omaha, a freshman started on the mound. So, I mean,
it's right for them, man.
Yeah. So, anyway, all right. Now, one other thing I want to back up to is last Sunday, the United States Open, Sam Burns, Louisiana guy, LSU guy, finishes alone in second place, picks up $2.4 million. You saw the emotion at the end when he lost. His dad was there. The U.S. Open always ends on Father's Day. He missed a putt. He's known for his putt, and he missed a putt that put him in a tie. But it didn't drop. It sat on the right edge. Yeah. But tip of the hat to Sam Burns. Wyndham Clark won his second Open in 3 years. But tip of the hat, Sam Burns. I truly believe, I said this on Sports Shorts Friday, I truly believe Sam Burns will win a major at some point in the near future.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the next year. His game is trending so well. And going back to what you said about that putt on 18 to possibly put it in a position where it probably would have gone to a playoff with the way things shaked out with Clark. I don't know how that ball doesn't fall. I mean, it was an impossible putt to begin with, TK. He made it look easy. That's just what he does when he gets to the green. He makes everything around there just look so easy for him. But I thought that ball was going to fall and put him in a position to be 4 under. And and eventually go to a playoff with Clark. But Clark hangs on after you and I talked last Saturday about we thought he might come back a little. He did, but it just proves to show. It just goes to show you how difficult it is to gain any type of stroke there in New York, because it's just real difficult at Shinnecock to be able to do that.
It really is.
98% of the field was even par or worse last week, or above par. Only 3 players finished below par. That was Tom Kim, Wyndham Clark, and Sam Burns. So it's a difficult course, and Burns made it look easy, and I was pretty impressed.
Well, the final major of the year will be at Royal Birkdale. The British Open will be in a couple of weeks, and I look forward to that. So a lot going on. Hey, on today's show, we're here till 12 noon, Baton Rouge on 104.5 ESPN, ESPN Southwest Louisiana, covering the Lafayette and Lake Charles markets, of course, on the app. I got people all over the world watching this. We're streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can check it all out. We're going to get into LSU football today. Yeah, it's never a bad time to talk about LSU football. And this is the last Saturday in June. It's not going to be that far before September 5 is here in LSU and Clemson are playing. We'll talk some LSU baseball. Hunter will update you on the World Cup, Team USA, red, white, and blue. We'll give you all the latest on that. The New York Knicks win the NBA title. Big parade at Chalmette for Mitchell Robinson the other night. We'll talk Baton Rouge, Rougarou, and Lake Charles Gumbo games. They play each other tonight at Joe Miller Ballpark in Lake Charles, home of the McNeese Cowboys. We'll tell you who the Pelicans drafted. We got a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Radar gun was lighting up yesterday in the NBA.
Yeah, Hunter's got something on that. And also, we're going to tell you right now about riveroflifecapsules.com. Team Sports Shorts is a big fan of River of Life capsules. I started taking them 2.5 years ago. They are amazing. All natural ingredients, no side effects. If you got any kind of inflammation or aches and pains, bumps and bruises, you need to go to riveroflifecapsules.com. You can schedule a free consultation. You can read all about it at riveroflifecapsules.com. You can call and talk to Patrick, who we'll speak to in hour number 2 about the product. It's $40 for the month. You take 1 or 2 capsules every morning. I know all of Team Sports Shorts does. Joel, Derry, Ronnie, myself, many of our family members, many of our friends. River of Life capsules. You need to check it out. I promise you'll be glad you did. So we'll tell you about that more when Patrick Scowen joins us in the second hour. But the key is go to riveroflifecapsules.com. You see the website address on your screen if you're watching the stream today. Riveroflifecapsules.com. You don't want to miss that. All right, with Hunter McCann, I'm Tommy Chrysan. We are live at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, where they got the Saturday and Sunday brunch. Staff's in here getting everything ready for you to come on by. Of course, they'll be open tomorrow as well. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come back. We'll go to Natchitoches, Louisiana, and speak to Ronnie Rance, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction weekend. We'll do all of that after this pause on Sports Shorts Radio, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles.
We got Ronnie.
We continue with Sports Shorts Radio, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. Right now, we go live and direct to Natchitoches, Louisiana. We speak with Ronnie Rance, the Hall of Fame induction weekend, and all the ceremonies been going on. Ronnie, the busiest man in the country. Ronnie, how are you? We're at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. They're getting ready to open the doors. Staff's got it ready, so you're missing out on BRQ today. Yeah, it's exciting. LASportshall.com. If somebody wants to get information or check it out tonight, and I know there'll be a replay of it for many weeks going forward, and people can get that. That's great up in Natchitoches. Once again, an incredible class with 12 people being recognized, all worthy from different walks of Louisiana. You know, people in Louisiana sometimes forget, it's not just football and baseball and basketball. There's so many other Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame members, whether it's boxing or horse racing or whatever. I mean, y'all cover out the whole scope. And of course, tonight, if you're in the Lake Charles area, the Gumbo Gators will host the Baton Rouge Rougarou at Joe Miller Ballpark, home of the McNeese Cowboys. First pitch at 7, gates open at 6. Little Gumbo Gators and Rougarou match up tonight in Lake Charles. Yeah.
Make sure the audio is correct. We had that problem this week because everything else is good.
Look forward to that. And, it's a nice little wrinkle for those kids as they get recognized. And the first 200 folks at the game tonight are going to get a free pair of sunglasses. It's National Sunglass Day. There's a day for everything. And so we're going to honor that tonight.
And as you mentioned, the two teams will play tomorrow night. Pete Goolsbee Field, gates open at 6, first pitch 7:05. So they'll play in Lake Charles tonight, in Baton Rouge at Pete Goolsbee Field tomorrow night. We want everybody to get on out there for that. Ronnie, I know you're super busy. We're going to nail things down here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue without you. Next week we'll be at Fat Daddy's in Plaquemine on the 4th of July. We'll have fireworks for everybody. All right, Ronnie, I know you're busy. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, fellas. Enjoy BRQ. Talk to you next week.
All right, Ron.
That's Ronnie Ransom. We apologize. A little technical difficulty there, but we did get it straightened out here at the last minute. So sorry about that. That was my error. But give TK an error in the error column there.
He's talking about the stream, obviously, for all our radio listeners.
Radio people heard it, but you folks on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and like Hunter mentioned earlier, we stream the radio show now where you can watch it and check us out. We'll put clips up for the rest of the weekend, little small snippets, minute, 2 minutes long, and on pertinent topics, you can check that out. So, and don't forget, Rougarou home tomorrow night against the Gumbo Gators. You can watch it at Texas Collegiate League. All right, Hunter, we're going to move towards another break here, but we are going to get to LSU football. I had a text message. Somebody said, I thought you were going to talk LSU football.
Don't worry, it'll be here.
It's June 27th, ladies and gentlemen, so we will get to that. But we're at BRQ. Let me tell you about some of the things here at BRQ. A couple of specials, the burnt ends, which I had for lunch earlier in the week. It's fantastic. They got bacon wrapped shrimp with pepper jelly cheese, and of course they got their brunch. That's 10:30. That's going to start in just a few minutes. 10:30 till 3 p.m. every Saturday and Sunday. BRQ Benedict, biscuits and gravy, and andouille and cheese omelet. Low country shrimp and grits, chicken and waffles are outstanding. Mexican style hash browns, French toast sandwich. I mean, can you get anything else? It's all every Saturday and Sunday, 10:30 to 3. And they got their brunch cocktails, the BRQ Bloody, the Aperol Spritz, and a mimosa special. You can do it all here on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, not far from Airline, right down the street from the Jefferson Lounge, one of my favorite watering holes. You can do it all here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, the official catering service of LSU Athletics. They do a ton of stuff for across the board athletic department out there at LSU. Charlie and the staff do a super job here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue here in Baton Rouge. We appreciate you listening on ESPN Southwest Louisiana, Lafayette and Lake Charles, as well as 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to try to connect with Joel Davis at Wooden Haven Furniture. Joel Davis got a tent sale today on Government Street in Mid-City. We'll try to connect with him. If not, Hunter McCann will give you a World Cup update. Joel Davis next. Don't go anywhere.
Tiger fans, game day is better when you stay in the This is Sports Shorts Radio.
We continue with Sports Shorts Radio here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge. Tommy Christ and Hunter McCann with you on this Saturday morning. We're trying to connect with Joel Davis. Don't have him yet. Joel told me he had a tent sale going on at Wooden Haven Furniture on Government Street, Mid-City. So he must be selling a wooden duck or end table or a coffee table or something like that. All right, well, if we get Joel, we'll interrupt what we're doing for you and get to Joel. It's a very popular segment. Everybody's texting me and making messages to hear Joel. We're trying hard to connect with him. Hunter, you got to give us the World Cup update. I do kind of know what's up with USA, but fill everybody in first on USA and then everything else that's going on now.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's go back and then we'll go forward. U.S. played Turkey, final group stage match for the United States. That was on Thursday. And sorry, TK, you good?
Now I'm hearing you.
Okay. Sorry, buddy. So U.S. played Turkey on Thursday. United States fell in their final group stage game, trying for the perfect sweep, something they've never done before in World Cup history, and fell short. 3-2 loss to Turkey. And, a lot of people who maybe like TK and the casual fans saw that United States was a heavy favorite in that match. They were supposed to be going into it before the official lineup card came out. The United States did really what they should have done. They rested a lot of their key starters. This game did not matter. Let me put that first and foremost. Game did not matter. Turkey could have won 10 goals to nil. It did not matter. The United States were going to win Group D. They were going to be at a favorable position to play a third-place team. So they didn't need to play all their starters. Christian Pulisic, who missed the game against Australia last week, did sub in the second half and play a little bit just to let the calf get some gameplay in and everything and get back up to speed. But ultimately, Turkey scored in the 98th minute, in the 8th minute of stoppage time to put the U.S. away and get their first victory in Group D. They go home, but Turkey goes home a little bit happy. But moving ahead to later in the week on Wednesday, the United States will play Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32. The knockout stages begin for the United States. And, once again, if you're the casual fan, what that means is now win or go home. These are the games that now really matter. You've made it out of the group stages into a position now to go on a run into the round of 32. U.S., a favorable, heavily favored team against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Minus 260 right now on the money line is the United States to advance out of the round of 32. And Bosnia and Herzegovina was paired up in the same group as Canada. They were the third-place team out of that group. And they will play the United States on Wednesday at full strength. And I think that's what the most important part is. That game against Turkey does not matter, should not really change anybody's opinion on how great this United States team has looked through the group stages. They will be able to put that on showcase against Bosnia and Herzegovina. And right now, they are favored to be in a position to possibly get to the quarterfinals and see what happens. Just get there and see what happens. But it all will start Wednesday against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Going back to today, final day of group stages. Group J, L, and K are all in action today. And here's what's at stake. England and Panama play today at 4 o'clock. England's already clinched advancement but needs a win or draw to win Group L. Panama officially, mathematically eliminated. So it will not matter much for Panama, but England will still be trying for a win to secure a top spot in Group L. In the same group, Croatia and Ghana play. Croatia can win the group with a win, and if England loses, Croatia will advance with a win, while Ghana is fighting to lock down a knockout spot as well. Portugal, Colombia play today in Group K. Colombia leads that group with 6 points. Portugal has 4. So Ronaldo will be in action today. Portugal win is required to take first place. Otherwise, Colombia will win Group K. And DR Congo versus Uzbekistan today. Both teams fighting for vital points to keep their chances alive for the round of 32. It'll all come down to points for them. And then the final 2 matches of the day in Group J. Austria and Algeria play. 2 teams are tied for points. The winner will advance to play Spain in the next round, who's been a little lackluster. Spain has not been where everybody thought they would be. But once again, you get in the round of 32, anything can happen. The loser of Austria and Algeria will have to hope that their goal differential is enough to advance to the top third-place finisher, similar to how Bosnia and Herzegovina did it. And then, of course, Messi tonight is expected to go against Jordan. Argentina has not been scored on yet in the World Cup. They have not played a lot of talent yet, but they have secured their advancement regardless of the result. And Jordan playing for points to contend as well for that third-place backdoor spot. So we will see where all that goes down. So a lot still at stake here on a Saturday before, once again, round of 32 officially begins tomorrow. South Africa, Canada. That is going to be at SoFi Stadium in Santa Clara. We will see how Canada gets it done after finishing second place in their group. They are favored tomorrow, minus 135 against South Africa, who's been really surprising so far in the World Cup. So a lot of still fun. And TK, look, I got to ask you a question. I know you told me before we started today you have not remotely even turned on a World Cup. You hadn't seen a minute of World Cup. At what point, if the United States goes on a run, does Tommy Christen actually turn on the TV to the World Cup and sit down and watch a match?
If they get to the semifinals, but I'm going to have to call you, find out what channel it's on. But no, I just not a soccer guy. Never have been, never will be. And part of it is this, Hunter, and I know you played a little soccer at St. Michael High School here in Baton Rouge. When I was a kid, they didn't have soccer for youth sport as a youth sport. You know, we did the football, basketball, baseball thing, and maybe a little bit of track and field in this, a little bit. But it was not an option to go play soccer. I'm guessing that when I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, had soccer been an option, I may have played it because I played everything else back then, But I just have never gotten into it. And, I'd rather sleep or watch Married with Children reruns or something like that.
Well, a lot of people have the same feelings towards soccer as they do golf. A lot of people find it to be a boring sport sometimes, where sometimes games end with no goals being scored. Where I disagree on that is the fact that the stakes always feel so high in a lot of these games, and there is a lot of action. I mean, there are many opportunities that don't get slotted for teams that they don't finish their chances and don't score, of course, but it's just you're right there. You feel the game is right there. I mean, last night watching Egypt-Iran until maybe it was almost midnight last night, and Iran last night was going to win the game to put themselves into the round of 32 for the first time ever, TK. They scored in stoppage time to take a 2-1 lead over Egypt, and it was incredible. It was great to see. The problem with it was Iran was off by literally a quarter of a foot, and they took the goal away. Egypt and Iran finished tied in that game, and now Iran will come down to whether or not they will finish as a third-place team with goal differential to be able to put themselves as a high enough third-place team to advance to the round of 32. But it's just there is that tension, that action, that storyline. It's almost like March Madness at a worldwide scale if you really invest yourself into soccer.
Well, let me ask you this question. And you always do the best bets, WBRZ, and Sports Shorts. You always, got wagers, everything from hockey to NFL to college, baseball, you name it. Can you find value in betting on the World Cup, and do you bet?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yes. I will have best bets today for the World Cup.
Probably no over/under, huh?
Oh, there is, of course. Yes, it's not. Yes, you would be surprised, TK. You should open up your sports book during the break and take a
I have all that on the phone.
Exactly.
But I've never looked. The only time I've opened that app is to find out when does USA play next.
Well,
because I'm all for red, white, and blue.
Sure, of
USA.
course. There are a lot, and once again, I will have best bets for the World Cup, all 6 games today over at WBRZ.com. I'll have those posted shortly after noon today. Those will all be posted at WBRZ.com for best bets. We went 5-1 yesterday. Actually, the only game that I did lose was that Egypt-Iran game yesterday. I had Egypt getting it done. They were not able to put a lot of chances away, and they ended up drawing that game. But go back to answer your question, TK. The amount of things that you could bet on a soccer game would probably blow your mind. Yes, they have over-unders and goals. Yes, you could bet on both teams to score. You could bet on specifically what team to score, how many goals. Wow. There are spreads in soccer. There are everything that you could bet on whether or not a goal will happen in the next 5 minutes or will happen in the first 5 minutes of a game. Goal scores.
So it's like anything
there's
else
a lot of value. For avid gamblers, you might have seen this online. They're actually, in the last 2 weeks, the World Cup has been beating up Vegas in terms of goal scores. The last 2 weeks, books have lost millions of dollars of the fact that Mbappe, Messi, and Haaland scored 2 goals in both of their first 2 games, and people were parlaying those. And TK, I'm talking about $10 will win you like $5,000. for all. If you bet all three of those guys score 2 goals, because it is so difficult to let alone score 1 goal in a game, to score 2, and let alone all 3 of those stars to score 2 goals in their game. I mean, it's unprecedented, and it happened in both of their first 2 group stage games on the same within a week of each other. And so it happened the first week, and a lot of people even more so bet it the second week, and then it happened again. I felt left out. I did not do that, but I knew some people that did, and they won thousands of dollars off of that. People that bet crazy amounts won hundreds of thousands of dollars, and
Wow.
It's pretty incredible. So yes, there are plenty of betting action that you can get into in the World Cup if you're a big avid gambler. You got to know what you're doing, and if you don't know what you're doing, you go to wbrz.com to get best bets. I do a lot of research, know what I'm doing. Like I said, we went 5-1 yesterday in group stages. We'll try to finish it off with these 6 games today.
If you don't know what you're doing, check with Hunter McCann, WBRZ Best Bets. And the USA will play Wednesday night, 7 o'clock out in Santa Clara against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Hunter, one more topic before we go to break. Speaking of gambling, Brendan Sorsby. We all know the story. Texas Tech.
Yep.
Gets away from Tech, petitions the NFL for a supplemental draft, which they hadn't done in several years. NFL says no. That tells me no team told the NFL we're interested in him. Now, Canada says he's not eligible to sign with any of their teams in the Canadian Football League. I don't know what this dude's going to do, but he certainly, he brought it on himself. He's the one that's to blame, no one else.
I'll be very interested to see. I don't think he is playing football. I don't think anybody wants to touch it. And first of all, nobody should touch it.
Let me explain. The NFL, to do a supplemental draft, what they did was they had a player petition for it. I'm telling you, they contacted all 32 NFL teams and said, if we do a supplemental draft, do you have an interest in picking Sorsby, and in what round would you do that? That tells me no team said, yeah, we'll take him in the 3rd round, because if you take him in the 3rd round, you lose your 3rd round pick next year. Nobody said they wanted him. NFL doesn't schedule a supplemental draft, and it's because nobody wanted to take the chance.
I will disagree with you on that. I actually don't ever think it got to that point. The reason I say that is that
you think the NFL cut it off before it even got to that?
I absolutely do.
Well, we can agree to disagree.
So then, no, the reason I say that, Tommy, is so the supplemental draft is up to the discretion of the NFL. At the end of the day, it's actually up to the discretion of Roger Goodell. He can say yes or no without having to really explain himself. And I think that him and everybody else at the top of the NFL sat down, talked about it. I definitely think it was a discussion, but at the end of the day, what do you gain by, at the end of the day, the NFL is a business. What do we gain from Brendan Sorsby being in the NFL? Are we going to get more eyeballs? Maybe, but are they for the wrong reason? Like, do you need that stain on the NFL?
The train wreck.
Correct. And I think the NFL, and I actually, I commemorate Roger Goodell. There's a lot of things that Roger Goodell does that I do not agree with. If this is how it happened, I can commend him for it, and because of the fact that you were able to let this be a teaching lesson and a statement from the NFL saying, just because you didn't break our rules doesn't mean that we're going to cater to your every need. Because once again, Sorsby turned in his paperwork with like 3 days before the deadline, saying as a request of a supplemental draft, and they said you didn't give us a reason. You gave us paperwork 3 days before. And ultimately, we think this is a great opportunity for you to reflect on everything and then get ready for the 2027 NFL draft, where he can go in just fine next year into the actual draft process and let teams take chances there. They're not going to tell him that he can't enter the draft. Everything will, but I'll be interested to see next season if anybody takes a chance on him, or if he becomes a stain to the game and they say, we won't. You go find yourself an insurance job, buddy. You've ruined your football career.
Well, I said we would agree to disagree, but I can see the scenario you painted. Okay, I can see that it could have went down that way, could have went my way, could have been somewhere in between. So, but I applaud the NFL for doing that, because this is a swimming pool they didn't want to jump in. Okay, because they're going to have enough problems with the whole thing with Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
They're going to have enough problems with that when all that starts resurfacing. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. They got the brunch. Doors are open. Come on by, get some brunch, or come tomorrow for the brunch. Of course, they're open tonight. Full-service bar. They can do everything for you. They got all the brunch cocktails are getting ready to flow. In fact, I might have to have a Bloody Mary there, Hunter. We'll have to see. We tried to reach Joel. We'll be here till 12 o'clock. We'll keep trying to get Joel, but we were unable to get him.
He's a busy businessman.
He's selling an end table or something down there at Wooden Haven Furniture.
He needs to hire some help, TK.
Yeah, he really does. All right, we'll be back with more Sports Shorts Radio, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, right after this pause. Stay with us.
Now back to Sports Shorts Radio.
We continue with Sports Shorts Radio. We got about 7 or 8 minutes for this segment as we have a hard out near the top of the hour. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles. Right now, we're joined by Joel Davis, Wooden Haven Furniture, Government Street in Baton Rouge. Got a tent sale going on. Good morning, Joel. How are you?
TK, what's up, my dude?
You are
been busy this morning. I've been out
bet.
here. Yeah, I've been out here since about 7:30 trying to get ready for this tent sale, getting everything outside under the tent. You might want to get by here today. 70% off a lot of the items under the tent. So
I might have
can't
to
beat
stop.
that, bro.
I'm gonna have to stop by. Hey, Joel, what's the latest on the New Orleans Saints? We know the mandatory mini camp thing for the veterans has come and gone. We're not that far away from opening camp. What's the latest? Your thoughts on the New Orleans Saints and what can folks expect?
Just strictly anticipation, man. I mean, I'm kind of look, man. I'm not trying to get too excited about the season, right? Because if you get too excited, or you let yourself get away, like you think that they're going to have a great season, you end up being disappointed. So you never want to get too high. You never want to get too low. You're never as good as you think you are. You're never as bad as you may be that day. So at the end of the day, I need to get to camp. I need these young guys to see what they can do. They're going to be so dependent upon this year. All these young guys over the last 2 drafts are going to be major, major impacts for this organization over the next 2 to 3 years to see where this team's going to be. I think they got their quarterback. Quarterback's got to stay healthy. I think that they've got a stable of running backs that can get the job done. They've been building up front with the defensive line and the offensive line. They've invested a lot of money there with draft picks and free agents. So at the end of the day, dude, I mean, you got one more year next year when you got to get some more people, some younger people in the secondary. I think they need cornerback help next year. I think that's going to be a major, major priority in the offseason. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to say it right now. Next year in the first round, depending on where they draft, you're looking at a defensive end / cornerback. I think that's going to be a major look-see when it comes into the offseason. They got to put people in the secondary, TK. I think that's probably their weakest link right now. Based on what I'm looking at, it would be the secondary. I think their depth there is kind of sketchy, right? And Kool-Aid McKinstry has to have a big year this year. That's a guy that we need him to play like a first round draft pick. I know he's not a first round draft pick, but they need him to play like a first round draft pick. He was considered a first round draft pick, and the Saints were fortunate enough to get him in the second. Well, I think Quincy Riley gave me more than I anticipated last year. But other than that, dude, I mean, you got a bunch of veterans and young guys that are kind of unproven.
Well, Joel, let me ask you, we're sitting here June 27th, we're 2 months away from the season starting, but what in Joel Davis's eyes, do the Saints need to do to have a positive season? What would the record need to be at the end of the year to go? I was impressed with the Saints.
Above 500.
9-8.
I think you got to finish it 9-8. I think that's the number that you feel like, okay, we're going in the right direction with quarterback, right? And he's got to play well. He's got to stay on the field. He's got to stay healthy. And he did that last year in a very half of a season, right? For people forget the dude still played almost a half of a season. Mm-hmm. When he came in with in the Rams game, I think that was, I don't know what week it was, but I mean week 9, 8, 9.
I think it was 8 or 9. Yeah.
So he played a half a season, and there was a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns that were kind of left on the table. That balls were dropped. Plays weren't made. This, that, and the other. Right. So I think his stats could have been a little bit better. But would you take double of what he gave you last year?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
How would you feel if he finishes next year with, let's just say, 21 TD passes, 6 interceptions, 8 interceptions, and maybe 3 or 4 more rushing touchdowns, 24 total touchdowns, 25 total touchdowns in season 2 of a 27-year-old player? How would you feel with that? I would feel okay with it. I mean, I'd rather him hit the 30 mark. I'd rather see him hit the 30 mark between passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns. I'd like to see 25 passing touchdowns and a minimum of 5 rushing touchdowns. I think if you can get 30 TDs out of your quarterback, I think they win those 9 games.
Well, and if you go 9-8, depending on what Carolina, Tampa, and Atlanta do, you could be a playoff
that could
team.
be enough, yeah.
Yeah, certainly 10 you think gets in. And so this team, Joel, as Tyler Shuck goes, the Saints go. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's to say the same thing for every other team in our division.
Sure.
As Baker Mayfield goes, Tampa goes. As
Bryce Young in Carolina.
Bryce goes. Yeah, as Bryce Young goes in Carolina, the Carolina Panthers.
And who knows what the Falcons are doing at quarterback.
Tua does. A lot of people are forgetting that Tua was a pretty good football player at points in his career.
I think Tua is also
Miami,
forgetting,
and he's probably going to win. Yeah, but I think he's going to win that. I think he's going to end up ultimately winning that job. And he's going to be playing in a dome a lot. Not in the elements. He's not going up to Buffalo. He's not going up to New England. He's going to be playing at least 10 games a year in a dome. I mean, that plays right into Tua's game.
Well, they've had Tua in a padded dome for a while. He's got a lot of issues to work on when it comes to stand on the field. But I know you're talking about playing in the Caesars. I mean, Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
So, Joel, once again, you got a tent sale going on at Wooden Haven Furniture. Why do people need to stop by? Tell them.
Yeah, boys. Dude, let me tell you something, dude. I got so much cool stuff out there. All of our teak root is on sale, 50% off our teak root. If you're not familiar with what that is, you got to come and see it. It's just a really unique product. We have that outside, not all of it, just some of it outside, and 50% off of that. And then we have many, many items outside that we're letting go 50% off, 70% off. So if you got a kid in college, you've got an apartment, you got an Airbnb, you're crazy if you're not over here shopping at Woodhaven Furniture Company today.
All right, Joel, you have a great day over there. We got a forced break coming up.
Appreciate it,
So
boys.
we will talk to you
All right,
again
Joel.
soon. All right, Joel Davis for you right there. Hey, don't forget Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Tonight is steak night. They get their steaks from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Sunday brunch. It's through the roof good at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Jason and the staff do a super job. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll know all about lunch specials, dinner specials, drink specials, full-service bar. It's all at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. We want you to check them out if you haven't done it already. I'll be out there Monday night for Sports Shorts Monday at 6:30 p.m. That's Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. All right, that's going to push us towards the end of hour number one. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles. Don't forget, Baton Rouge Rougarou at home tomorrow night. Pete Goolsby Field, gates open at 6. The opponents, the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators. Those two teams playing in Lake Charles tonight. They will play tomorrow night in Baton Rouge at Pete Goolsby Field. We want to see you at the park. With Hunter McCann, I'm Tommy Kreisand from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. They got the brunch going on till 3 p.m. today. We're back with hour number 2, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles.
G2, Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
We continue. Hour number 2, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles. I'm Tommy Krysan, along with Hunter McCann, the man who does not like bacon. We'll get into that in a minute, but we're getting ready to get some food here, some bacon-wrapped shrimp with pepper jelly cheese, and then we're going to get some burnt ends, the burnt ends of brisket with some pretzel buns. It's through the roof. Good here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge, Jefferson Highway, not far from Airline. Hour number 2, we roll on. We've been teasing it. We say we're going to talk some LSU football with you. Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan, let's do it. I know it's June 27th, but the excitement has been building since the day Lane Kiffin was hired. They bring Coach O back, Charlie Weiss Jr. So, they have got the coaching staff in place. They've got the portal. They've got players. They got guys that return. Hunter, where do we start with LSU football? September 5, they host the Clemson Tigers. LSU's 11.5-point favorite in that game. At this point, take us into some LSU football, Hunter.
Yeah, you're right. Where do we start? Where it was crazy where we were, and 7-8 months ago compared to where we are now in conversation of LSU football. I think the point here in June is to talk about what, in your opinion, TK, would deem a bad season or a poor season in the first year of Lane Kiffin, where you have a brand new head coach, brand new coaching staff. 90% of your players feel like they're brand new, and if they're not brand new, they're new to playing with each other. They're going to have to be, you're going to have to find some chemistry and get everything moving there. You have some stability. Of course, Blake Baker was a huge part of the reason LSU had any type of success the past few years. Of course, that defense, last year where the offense couldn't get going was the reason they kept them in the ball game most of the time. And you keep Blake Baker on staff with Lane Kiffin's genius of the offensive capabilities. In your opinion, Tommy, I just want to say, if LSU got to the end of the year, and I'm not saying they have to win the national championship this year in Lane Kiffin's first year. I don't think anybody's expectation should be that, even if it is somehow a possibility. If you got to the end of the year, what would leave a sour taste in your mouth? Like, that didn't feel like something that we could build upon.
I think if LSU were to end up 7-5 and they're not in the discussion to possibly be a playoff team, that'll be a big disappointment. Okay. I mean, 7-5, there's some schools would love to be 7-5, but I think, you got to win 8 or more, and you got to be in the discussion for the 12-team playoff. Keep in mind, it'll still be 12 this year. There's a lot of talk about that changing, but that hasn't come to be yet. So I think you got to be in the discussion. They have a very tough schedule. You and I were talking about that before the show started.
They might be the toughest in the country.
And the order of the schedule is also tough, not just who's on it, okay? Because sometimes you can have a tough stretch on the schedule, and then you have a little easy spot. Nothing's easy, but an easier spot.
Sure.
But I don't know that that's the case. But I think they got to be in the conversation for the playoff. Texas is going to be very good. A&M is going to be pretty darn good. Georgia's Georgia, and then it's LSU. Everywhere I'm looking, people say they're going to win 9 or 10 games, and we'll get into that in a minute. But everybody's thinking they're the 3rd or 4th best team as of today in the SEC.
Well, Vegas would also agree with you on that. LSU, I'm pulling it back up right now, I believe has the 4th best odds. That's correct. 4th best odds, tied with Texas A&M to win the SEC championship. Texas, Georgia, A&M, LSU in that order. LSU is actually ahead of Alabama and Ole Miss, 2 opponents they do play this year. Going through the schedule, if LSU were to end 7, well, back up a second. We talk about the fact that it possibly the most difficult schedule in the country for the LSU Tigers.
As of today.
As of right now,
change,
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, looking on paper, the opponents they have to play with the skill they have to play, and there hasn't been, once again, hope health and safety is good, but there hasn't been any major injuries for any of this team. At full strength, LSU is going to be up against some very tough opponents. They play the one bright side, Tommy, is the fact that I believe their hardest games, luckily, are going to be played in front of 100,000 plus fans in Tiger Stadium. That's the best. The schedule is favorable that their toughest opponents end up being at home. They play Clemson to open the year. They play Ole Miss on the road, which will be a tough one. But then they go on to play A&M, they play Alabama, and they play Texas. Those other really difficult games, and where Texas and Alabama are back-to-back, once again, the advantage is you're not traveling. You're playing at home. Both of those back-to-back weeks in November, with the possibility of really locking yourself possibly at that point of the year into a playoff situation if you can knock off at least one of those teams between Alabama and Texas. It'll be a difficult task. For me, Tommy, I'll tell you, I believe 7-5 is my number as well. They end up at 7-5, and depending on who the opponent you lose in, it just leaves a sour taste. And this feels like the obvious, but the most important thing right now, in my opinion, is you got to beat Clemson. And it's not just because it's the first game of the year, but it's your first game in Tiger Stadium with Lane Kiffin as head coach. You're a double-digit favorite, even with all these new components, with Sam Levitt under quarterback, who's never been in the purple or gold yet in a LSU football game. You have to win that game, because if not, the momentum for the rest of the year is completely gone. It feels like you're off to a terrible start to Lane Kiffin era in a game that you felt like you should have won, with the talent advantage heavily favored towards the Tigers. You have to win that game against Clemson, and then after that, I think everything else feels like lagniappe. As long as you grab a few along the way and finish somewhere 8-4, I will say it worked out in your favor. But if you don't win that game against Clemson, everything's going to feel very crappy, I think, the rest of the year.
Well, as I said, they're 11.5-point favorites against Clemson on Saturday, September the 5th. Got to win.
I don't care if you win by a point. You don't got to cover.
You got to
win that by 11
with a W.
Yeah. I'm not talking from a betting standpoint. I have no idea what I'll take in that game in 2 months. I don't have a great read on it yet. There's a lot of changes along the way.
A lot of ground to cover.
Correct. You got to just win that football game. I don't need you to assert dominance, win by 30, or win by anything crazy. Just win the football game. Start off 1-0 and have Lane Kiffin's first game as a Tiger be in front of that sold-out crowd at night in Death Valley with College game day in town. Don't let all that juice that's going to be generated here in the next 2 months and leading into that game be squandered over falling short on the field.
Got to beat Clemson, because then the next week Louisiana Tech comes to Baton Rouge, and Tech's a good team, but LSU is going to win that. Then it's go to Ole Miss. Boom. Okay, we all know that story. That's going to be the biggest game of the year in the country because of all the storylines with Pete Golden, with Lane Kiffin, and all the coaches and staff members that swap schools.
I will tell you right now, Tommy, and I've been saying it for the last month, I really believe this. If LSU beats Clemson, they beat Ole Miss. If they lose to Clemson, they lose to Ole Miss. And it's not just because
they lose to Ole Miss either way.
I think, and it's once again, I don't think it has anything to do with the teams themselves. I think it has everything to do with the storyline and the momentum and getting players in the right. If you lose that first game at home with this much, once again, excitement and juice, you put yourself in such a poor position that your next tough opponent is arguably your biggest game of the year, or at least, it's going to be the most talked about game. It's going to be shoved in all the players' faces. As much as they don't want to hear all the noise, they will hear the noise. They've been hearing the noise. They'll continue to hear the noise. I think if they win that game, they knock off Ole Miss. If not, they're going to go to Oxford and get embarrassed.
Well, we'll see about that. Now, one thing LSU fans don't want to hear, there's going to be 3 morning kickoffs.
Yes.
Or 12 noon. 11 a.m. to 12 noon is the early window. 3-day morning games for LSU. A lot of people don't like it. Some people, like BRQ, will like it because they'll be crowded that night, and they'll have it on. By the way, they got a replay of the Turkey USA.
Yeah, that's what I was watching during the break.
World Cup on right now. They'll have the game on, obviously, whether it's LSU, Saints, Southern, whatever. But the day game does do things for the bar industry and the restaurant industry that a night game kind of hampers that a little bit. So
remind me real quick. I know one day game's already set in terms of time, 11 a.m. on the road against Auburn. What are the other 2 day games that are possible, or don't have a set time?
The early game would be Arkansas at the end of the year.
Yep.
And then also on the road against Mississippi State is an early game.
Okay.
That's middle of October.
They're at home against Mississippi State.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sorry. It's home against Mississippi State, and that will be an early game.
Okay.
Either 11.
So
or 12.
LSU will tentatively, and that's what I thought. I wanted to make sure we'll only have one early game kickoff, meaning before lunchtime in Death Valley this season. We know that for sure. Where the rest of the games
Auburn,
don't have
at Arkansas
on the road. Yeah, sure. But we know for sure that LSU will start their season with back-to-back night games in Death Valley against Clemson and against Louisiana Tech before they go on the road to play Ole Miss.
Of course, and one of the big things
also
that
night game.
Everybody's talking about, but you can't let it, you got to bring it up. November 7th, November 14th.
Yes.
Those back-to-back Saturdays find Alabama in Baton Rouge, the Texas Longhorns in Baton Rouge.
And like I
On
said,
November the 15th, you might know whether or not LSU's a playoff team.
that's what I'm saying. And once again, I'll reiterate myself, where you feel like this team is like, oh my God, they're playing juggernauts of talent across the SEC, where it's already hard enough to win. Back-to-back, Texas, Alabama is so brutal. Thank goodness they're both at home. And that's all I can, where there is a bright side, and we'll see what both those teams look like come November. Like we said, there's a bunch of ground in the next 5 months to make before then. Thank goodness they're playing in Death Valley, because they're going to need that advantage against both those teams with the talent. There's not a huge talent gap between Alabama and Texas and LSU. There just isn't on paper. But playing in Death Valley is so crucial.
Well, and of course, Texas has Arch Manning, and some talk that he's not going to go to the draft next year, unless that's just posturing. I don't know.
Yeah,
and Alabama's going to have a new quarterback. LSU's going to have a new quarterback, but these rosters are loaded, and you got great coaches at all of those schools, great coaching staffs, not just the head coach. The coaching staffs are through the roof good. So LSU football is going to be here before we know it. Everybody will be excited, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and I'm looking forward to where Lane Kiffin and his offensive skill set and everything like that, and our offensive capabilities of being able to be in every situation and find a way to be the winner is so profound. Defensively, I can't wait to see what Blake Baker can do with a lot of these key guys coming back, including Weeks, but also the new talent coming in. Jordan Ross on defensive line, Prince Will coming in from Ole Miss. He'll have an opportunity to make a name for himself. There's so much defensively that I think could keep LSU in the game to let the offense figure out its footing early in the year if they need it. Because last year, where you felt like this defense obviously was the strong point, they've reloaded. I mean, a lot of the key pieces like Weeks coming back and resetting kind of like the head of that defense allows for you to build upon that. And Blake Baker has been just a magician with his ability to limit some of these high caliber SEC offenses. So a lot of positives in Lane Kiffin's first year, but once again, I don't know if I think we talked about what would be a poor year. In my eyes, TK, a good year is getting into the playoffs.
Well,
everything after that, you're playing with house money.
Playoffs,
you've succeeded.
Even if you get bounced out in game one,
you succeeded.
You've made the playoffs. You've set the tone for what will happen going forward. Hunter, tell us all about Gage, because I know we're at the end of June and no hurricanes to deal with too much right now, but tell us all about Gage.
Well, yeah, and you talked about it in hour number one. We are in a point right now with an El Nino that meteorologists and know and everything. All the predictions is that we're going to have maybe a little bit more of a tame year in the Gulf when it comes to hurricanes, and hopefully that will be the case. But you don't really want to bank on that. We already had that. We already had Tropical Storm Arthur blow through last week and caused a lot of or a week and a half ago and caused a lot of damage and knocked out power for a lot of homes and businesses. But you would have stayed powered on if you had yourself a Cummins standby generator from Gage, because Gage, they're the number one Cummins dealer in the Gulf South. They have generators in stock that can be installed in just a few weeks, and you can trust them. They've been in business for over 45 years. Since 1980, Gage has been in business and has been the number one dealer of Cummins generators in the Gulf South. So contact Gage at 225-753-4243. Or you can visit them online at gage.cloud to figure out how you can protect your home and business.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Patrick Scallon, River of Life Capsules. He'll tell you all about it, how you can get some, how you can talk to him about it. That's all up next here. RQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge. They got the brunch going today. Brunch is also tomorrow. Brunch cocktails. You got it all at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, the official catering service of LSU Athletics. We're back after this pause. Stay with us.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
We continue with Sports Shorts Radio, Baton Rouge, Lafayette Lake Charles. Appreciate you taking time to tune in today or watch the stream, which we now stream on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can check it all out. YouTube, it's everywhere for you. On Saturday mornings. We're at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Just ordered some bacon wrapped shrimp with pepper jack cheese on it. Looking forward to that. Going to get some lunch here as well. You need to stop on by. Doors are open. Staff is ready to serve you here at BRQ. Right now, we go to the phone lines, and we're going to say hello to Patrick Scallon, riveroflifecapsules.com. Good morning, Patrick. How are you?
Hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing this morning?
We're doing really well. How's things going? I took my River of Life capsules this morning, so I'm doing real good.
Yeah, fantastic, guys. And, we always talk about it. Tommy, you've been on it for over 2 years. Hunter, you've been on it when you've been in pain. Everybody listen, it's just very, very important. If you're in pain, if you have arthritis, if you have aches, if you have stress, and you say, you know what, I want to take something, but I'm scared of taking something that's going to be bad for me, which is, 99% of everything in the stores and the drugstores. You go to River of Life at riveroflifecapsules.com. We have listen to this, the top 4 ingredients in the world are in our product. And so and if anybody's ever looking for a natural and organic product, and they say, if they Google the top 4, we'll have the top 4 in there, but also our proprietary formula at River of Life at riveroflifecapsules.com. It's been proven. We have thousands of people on it. People come in all the time to our offices in pain. They take 2 capsules. 30 minutes later, they feel fantastic. There's also an anti-aging component of the River of Life. The ingredients that we have, actually, if you take 2 to 3 every day, you actually stop aging in the body. And it's all under research, all in the National Public Medical Federal Department of Health. You can look it up yourself, but River of Life at riveroflifecapsules.com is a game changer. Just go there. If you want to talk to us, contact me. I'd love to talk to you. And just go to the website. It's fantastic.
All right, Patrick. Again, we can all testify to it, of how much it helps us so many different ways, and the all-natural ingredients and no negative side effects. Patrick, as always, we appreciate it. We encourage everyone, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles, go to riveroflifecapsules.com and take it from there.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate y'all having me.
Have a good one, Patrick.
All right, don't forget riveroflifecapsules.com. Hunter, let's talk a little NBA quickly. First off, down in Chalmette, my hometown, St. Bernard Parish, there was a parade the other night for Mitchell Robinson, who played a couple years at Chalmette High, the Chalmette Owls. Actually got them to the playoffs after a long drought with that. He was a member of the New York Knicks, who won the NBA title. And talking is already that he's not returning to the Knicks. He's a free agent, but we'll see about that. But it was a fun night in St. Bernard. It was Mitchell Robinson night down there in the parish. It was the first person from St. Bernard Parish to win an NBA title. And I don't think anybody from St. Bernard Parish has won an MLB World Series. Obviously, Cade Beloso won a College World Series, and others from that been on all the LSU championship teams, or the NFL. There's been guys from St. Bernard played in a Super Bowl. Norris Weist for one, the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. But so that was a pretty big thing for Chalmette High, for St. Bernard Parish, and all of that the other night.
Well, it's also very telling that we're an hour and 20 minutes into our show, and it's taken us this long to talk about the NBA. And they had a draft this week.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. The reason I bring that up is
the Pelicans.
Where were
all that rumor about trades? And
where were they, man? Yeah, you're gonna make moves. You have young talent in your team and everything.
They had the 58th pick, and that did not change.
No, and that did not change. They did get Jaron Pierre Jr., who was a St. Aug shooting guard. He played college ball at Southern Miss, Wichita State, Jacksonville State, and then went to Southern Methodist.
Okay, all right.
Correct. He finished his career.
All over.
He did.
My bad.
He finished his career at SMU, where he had his best season last year, averaged 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and was very efficient for SMU. And he found himself as a second-round pick. He goes back home to New Orleans to play for the Pelicans, who are in need of some shooting guard help. He's got a very smooth shot. Watch some footage of him. He could be a big contributor to this New Orleans Pelicans team that needs it. I mean, they got some young talent with Queens and Fears, and right now Trey Murphy sounds like he's on the ropes of being traded. At least that's what it was like going into the draft. And They say now it's still not out of the picture that they could make a trade for him before the season starts. But what the rumor is, TK, is that the Pelicans are demanding a pretty high price for him. 3 first-round picks is what they're telling teams. And because they've apparently had teams call and make offers, and the Pelicans have shot it down, and a lot of insiders say it's because they're standing very firm that if you want Trey Murphy, who's very, very talented, 3 first-round picks is what he's going to go for. That's too steep of a price, in my opinion, for Murphy. I think maybe 2 firsts and a second would be much better of an ask for Murphy, but I get it. Dumar and the rest of that front office are trying to do what they can to get the Pelicans back in working order, because it has been a lackluster in New Orleans the past few years.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I think you have plenty of reasons to be excited about the Saints, and Joel Davis talked about
the future
that
of, yes,
at the end of the first hour, and Tyler Shuck and Kellen Moore. There's lots of stuff there, Cam Jordan back, the whole bit. But there's no feeling like that with the Pelicans. Like, oh, can't wait
I
till
use
they go
the word
to
again.
camp.
There's no juice, man. Where's the juice?
And they're going to have their G League team playing in Kenner, playing in the greater New Orleans area. But there's just no excitement. They hired a coach, and that didn't really shake the trees a whole lot. I don't know, man. It could be another long year for the Pelicans.
Well, the Pelicans have been bottom of the barrel in terms of coverage and NBA talent and blah, 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 blah over the past few years. And even with Zion, things, go back 6 years ago when Zion was drafted, it was a completely different story. Everything was so exciting. The future felt bright. That obviously has not worked out the same way they wanted it to, where he's had spurts, and last season was obviously his best season because he played
most games, right?
Yes, because he was healthy, right? And can they get lucky and have 2 back-to-back years of Zion being healthy? Because once again, the inside reports is that the Pelicans have no interest in trading him, where that really didn't feel like at first I thought was maybe
I thought that was
screen.
just posturing,
yeah, exactly.
And negotiations.
It seems to be the truth is that they want to build around Zion and think that he could be the veteran presence on a very young team because they have the potential. But once again, unless you have a out-of-the-world superstar leader like on a young team like Wembanyama, who's a young player himself, you're not going to make it on a deep run. You're just not. The Knicks proved that veteran experience is what wins you championships. Being there and having the opportunity to finish off games and hold leads, it was something the Spurs couldn't do. The Pelicans easily could be in a situation like that, even if things all work out with their young talent, because they don't have much stability. So it's going to take a few more years, I think, to get things under control. And then that also means that a few more years means you get players moving out the door. And it's just, where do you go from here? I really thought that they had a lot of opportunities to make some trades, get some of the great talent in the first round, and start moving now. But it just feels like you're in a holding pattern, and I don't know what they're waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing, no juice. That term that you used, I think, is it. I mean, there's just no juice for the Pelicans, and I don't see it changing. A lot of other trades in the NBA. Giannis goes to the Heat. There's lots of other stuff happening, but I don't know. Pelicans, just look forward to the Saints. That's what you really need to do there. Hey, I want to tell you about Marchand's Interior and Hardware, located in Gonzales, established in 1949. They're become the premier flooring dealer in the greater Baton Rouge area. Their expansive showroom and a team of experts make it easy to get the look you want. Hardwood, vinyl, you got carpet, tile, and more. You'll have a magnitude of products to complete a bathroom renovation or dream kitchen, but all of your flooring needs are at Marchand's Interior and Hardware, located in Gonzales, Ascension Parish. Visit them at marchands.net or call 225-647-4076. And again, the website, marchands.net. They're also on Facebook, Marchand's Interior and Hardware. Brentley and the staff do a super job over there. You'll be glad you did. Go to Marchand. Any of your flooring needs, they have the experts that can fit your budget and get you exactly what you need for your home or your business. Marchand's, your premier flooring dealer in the greater Baton Rouge area. All right, Hunter, they brought some bacon-wrapped shrimp and some regular shrimp without bacon on it for you here at BRQ. BRQ is open 7 days a week. They're located at 10423 Jefferson Highway. They support local farmers and vendors. They focus on quality and making everything fresh in-house. They're family-friendly, attention to detail. By the way, kids eat free Monday with a purchase of an entree. Lots of holiday specials. And then, of course, BRQ's famous carrot cake, which you have had.
I have.
Barely fits on this table. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get a complimentary serving of their famous carrot cake. It's a 50-pound cake. They bring in a 5-pound piece to you, or if it's your birthday, they'll take care of that. They got a full-service bar with all the craft cocktails and happy hour Monday through Friday. The weekend brunch, which is going on right now and will be going on tomorrow. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. You need to check them out.
Absolutely. Yeah, come over here. Always impressed with the amount of, you take this menu, it's almost overwhelming, TK. They have so many options, and I've never had a bad thing here. I've tried a lot of the menu.
I'm here at
never
least
had
once a week for lunch. We're here once a month for radio. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, the official catering service of LSU Athletics. Hey, don't forget, tonight in Lake Charles, it's the Rougarou and the Gumbo Gators, Joe Miller Ballpark, home of the McNeese Cowboys. Gates open at 6, first pitch at 7 p.m. Joe Miller Ballpark, Gumbo Gators, and Rougarou. You want to check that out in Lake Charles tonight. Tomorrow night, those same two teams will be here in Baton Rouge at Pete Goolsbee Field. Right up there near the Governor's Mansion on 110 North. Gates open at 6, first pitch 7:05. Then the second half of the Texas Collegiate League season begins Tuesday night. Rougarou are home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Get off to a good start in the second half of the season. Victoria Generals clinched the playoff spot in the first half. That's who the Rougarou beat last year for the Texas Collegiate League Championship. They are the defending champs. They'll work in the second half to get into the playoffs. So go to brrougarou.com, get tickets, buy merchandise. You can buy merchandise out at the ballpark. You folks in Lake Charles, gumbogators.com, texascollegiateleague.com, where you can watch the stream of all the games. Go ahead and check all that out tonight and tomorrow night at Pete Goolsbee Field in Baton Rouge. And then, as I mentioned, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Rougarou at home, Pete Goolsbee Field of the upcoming week. Not home for 4th of July. Guess what? We'll still do radio next week. On the 4th of July, we'll be at Fat Daddy's in Plaquemine, where we get their great food and drink and see Ryder and the gang. We'll be doing a show on Saturday, July 4th.
Absolutely. We'll be there next week and looking forward to celebrating with a nice po' boy from Fat Daddy's for our 250th anniversary of America. That'll be next week.
Do you have any 250th gear? Like, I know there's hats and shirts.
So I do actually now,
you're a gear guy.
As of yesterday, I do actually. I bought the 250th anniversary red, white, and blue Cubs hat that they put out. The MLB put out for 4th of July. Yeah, right. Yeah, of course. I'll have to wear that next week for 4th of July. Speaking of the Cubs, when we come back, we'll talk some MLB news. Some Paul Skeens on the mound yesterday for the Pirates. A different pitcher, like I teased earlier, lighting up the radar gun. And it's a lot of things are shaking out. Very different. We're getting closer and closer to the middle of the season now. About 80 games in, we'll talk about where everything stands.
All right, we'll do all of that when we come back. We're here till 12 noon. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles. Thank you for tuning in with Hunter McCann. I'm Tommy Chrysan. We'll be right back after this pause from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge.
Now back to Sports Shorts Radio.
We roll on. Baton Rouge, Lafayette Lake Charles from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Hunter McCann, Tommy Chrysan with you. About a half hour left in the show, a little less than that. Hunter, I got to tell folks, we just ordered the bacon wrapped shrimp.
Yep.
With pepper jelly. We got some without bacon for you.
Thank you.
For some unknown reason, you don't like bacon. This was an A+.
Oh,
this was, we ate this during the break.
This was an S.
It was
above A+.
This is a reorder. This is an A+. This is you got to come to BRQ just to get that special. I'm going to get the other special, the burnt ends, the brisket burnt ends, after we get done with the show. But that little appetizer was A+.
So you want to know my problem? That it's an appetizer. I
could have ate a lot more than 3.
Yeah. Oh, I
had 3 with bacon. Hunter had 3 without bacon. I could have ate like 9 more.
Yeah,
with bacon.
correct. Yeah, give me an order of 15 of those as an entree. That was incredible, Tommy. Really great. Come check them out here. That's a special right now over here at BRQ. The pepper jelly bacon wrapped shrimp. And if you like me, you can get it without bacon if you really want to. It's incredible. You will not be. The only thing you'll be mad about is that you didn't have more of them. Like I said, come check them out.
It's definitely a reorder. I always do that when somebody tells me they had a good meal or good this or that. I'll say, "Would you order it again?" And when they say, "Yeah," that tells me it's really good. And I'm telling you right now, I will order that again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might order it again later today. I don't know.
Yeah, when you come back, we might put another order in.
But anyway, no. So that's all here. Charlie and the staff at BRQ just do a super job. They got lunch specials during the week. They got the brunch on Saturday and Sunday, which goes till 3 p.m., including the brunch cocktails, a French toast sandwich, chicken and waffles, you name it, they got it. And then, of course, everything from appetizers, seafood, barbecue, salads, sandwiches. The prime rib sandwich is a go-to for me as well, the entrees, and they got it all here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Hunter, let's talk some Major League Baseball. All right. I watched Paul Skeens throw a little bit yesterday. Got roughed up a little bit. Was going to get the loss. Got off the hook. He's 6-7, and I believe the ERA jumped up a little bit after last night.
Yeah, another rough outing for him. It has been great the past month or so. I mean, not bad by any metrics, but the ERA is now above 3. He's 6-7. 114 Ks, and it's still a sub-1 whip, 0.97 whip, so 5th best in the MLB. But he just not – I don't know if teams are figuring him out a little bit or if the stuff is just falling off just a little. I'm not saying he's regressing, but it just hadn't looked as sharp as he had. He did – after that, he had that rough second inning last night against the Reds where they scored 4 runs. He did sharpen up a lot. He had 5 strikeouts. I say finished with 7 with 5 on from that point to put the Pirates in a good position to try to grab the game. They end up falling 6-4 against the Reds, but it's just not what we're expecting from Paul Skeens. It's still better than most pitchers in the MLB. Put it that way.
No question about that. So MLB is rolling on. Now, I don't watch soccer, but I do watch a lot of MLB baseball. Of course, college baseball is not on anymore. I watched a lot from Omaha, but I do watch a lot of MLB. I'm not wild about all the crazy uniforms, but I'm the old guy. Get off my lawn, but I still love baseball, no question about it. Now, you were telling me earlier.
Speaking of crazy, right? So yesterday the Cubs played the Brewers in Milwaukee, and Jacob Mizorowski on the mound for the Brewers, who's been lighting it up and has the type of conversation right now that Paul Skeens had last year with how great he was doing. The only difference is his fastball comes in, Mizorowski's fastball comes in at almost an unprecedented speed. He had already hit north of 104.5 going into this game in multiple occasions this season. He clocked a 105.5 on the gun yesterday, 3rd pitch of the game. It was an 0-2 count to Pete Crow Armstrong. Armstrong managed to somehow foul off that 3rd pitch at 105.5. It's the 3rd fastest pitch ever recorded in the MLB. He ties Ben Joyce, who pitched a 105.5 in 2024. And the only other person that has pitched a faster pitch, he holds the 2 fastest pitches, of course, Aroldis Chapman. He did it in 2010 with the Reds at 105.8 and then 105.7, which is the 2nd fastest pitch 6 years later when he was with the Yankees. So He's in some unprecedented company, is Mizorowski, and he's still got that real young arm and only 24 years old. But the right-hander is slinging it. But you were telling me you don't really believe all that.
I don't know if you're throwing 105. I don't know. Where's it end? I mean, one day somebody going to throw 110. Now, let me ask you this question, Hunter. And I obviously played baseball in college, but I didn't bat. I batted in the summer leagues and sometimes in the fall, but never batted in a game. Now, in the Nord All-American League, I faced the late Frank Wills, who got to the bigs with Toronto and a few other teams. And at that time, this is 50 years ago, he was throwing 95, 96. Hunter, I batted. I didn't see the ball. If you'd have gave me $100 bill, if I could bunt it fair, I couldn't have done that.
I'm sure.
I couldn't see the ball. Have you ever been in a batter's box or leaning on a screen? I was leaning on the bubble screen during the COVID break. There was some big leaguers working out at Runnels High School. I guess I could say that now. They weren't supposed to, but they were. And there were guys throwing 95, 96, and I couldn't hardly see the ball. But I remember batting off of Frank. You've never had an experience like that?
No.
And I mean, you didn't play baseball.
No,
you played football and soccer.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I played football, soccer. I did track and field and everything. I played baseball before high school. So, I played growing up and everything, but no way. My baseball career stopped when I was 13. And, no, I've never been put in a batter. The only other batter's box I've ever stood in is played in some rec softball leagues and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
so nothing like
people can't understand.
No.
I mean, you go to the box, and if you sit close to the field, you see guys throwing 95 plus, 97, 98, 99. It's amazing to see it from the stands at Alex Box Stadium. But get in the batter's box one day, you won't want to be there long.
Two things, Tommy. First of all, I don't have the stones to put me in a batter's box with Mizorowski pitching against me. If he's really going to throw 105 north, right? North of 105. I don't have the stones to stand there and not feel like I'm about to lose, my head, right? But second of all, if I did and you put me in a batter's box and I get ready for the pitch and the windup, right? I'm gonna ask where the ball. Yeah, he hasn't thrown the ball yet. It's gonna be in the back of the pitcher's mitt. The back of the catcher's mitt. Like I'm never gonna see it go by me. I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna hear it whiz past me, but I will never see it. I'm not. The normal 99% of people on this planet are not trained to even see something moving that quick, let alone make a decision if it's going to be a ball strike, swing the bat, keep it on the shoulder.
Well, and the other thing I've always said, Hunter, back when guys only threw 95, okay, I wasn't as impressed with the guy throwing 95. He's got some God-given talent, incredible arm. He's worked hard, whatever. What's more impressive to me is the guy that stands in there with basically a toothpick in his hand and rips a double in the gap.
Yeah.
Or rips it down the line for a triple or hits a screamer through the middle. That, to me, is more talent than having the ability to throw it 95 or throw it 105 like Mizorowski or, throw it 99 consistently like Skeens does. I mean, to hit that stuff is what gets my attention.
So, and it's two, obviously, for people that know baseball, it's two different type of pitching talents in Mizorowski and Skeens. Skeens not only has that ability to go, to punch a fastball in north of 100, right? He also has the stuff. He has an incredible movement
on 5 pitches.
Yeah, he's got incredible movement on most of those pitches, right? Like he's going to make you question of how that ball was so far outside down the zone and ended up, in the bottom corner on the inside part of the black. Like you'll be questioning how that's even physically possible. Mizorowski, same thing, but his bread and butter is he's just going to blow the fastball by you. And as easy as you go, the fastball's coming. There's a difference with a pitcher like this where you can only take so many practice reps to really get yourself ready for that type of situation. And even with the fastball coming once away, are you really going to be able to time up the fastball? It was impressive enough for me to see 105.5 on the gun and even see PCA make even slight contact with that ball. Like, how did he get the bat around that quick? How do you see it out of the hand to be able to make that's why I think truly, people talk about being the quarterback in the NFL is the hardest thing you could do, right? I believe that. But I'd say it's probably near second to being in a batter's box in the MLB against a pitcher throwing north of 100. Yeah, I mean, I think you have a better chance of hopefully having a great offensive line and completing a pass in the NFL, right? Maybe a guy gets open and you could complete a decent pass. You have to be sharp to be able to even make contact, like we said, with the ball coming that fast if you're standing in the batter's box. I just can't wrap my head around it.
And of course, you got to be able to get out of the way if it's coming at you.
Yeah,
It's not
just-
going to feel good
Yeah.
if it hits you.
I mean, it's once again, it's one thing if you told me, all right, I'm pitching this ball, it's going to be this fast, it's going right here. I still don't think I could do it.
Well, see, what you need to do one day if you're out at LSU and they have Big Bertha or the bubble, the cage around the home plate during BP, you would lean on that to watch somebody throw 95, 98.
And I've been, when we were in Omaha last year, I like to think Jared Jones stuck around. Remember when Jared Jones was in that slump last year and going into Omaha and everything, and the Bear couldn't really make consistent contact, and he was kind of in that slump. I remember when I stayed back at one of the practices they had in Omaha and watched Jared probably take another 60 to 80 at bats by himself. That's what I did. I was with between me and you sitting at this table, shooting him and just watching the ball come in and it coming in 95 plus. It's a whole different perspective when you're sitting in the stands compared to when you're that close and seeing the ball go from mound to plate. It's a whole different reality.
Yeah, well, and the other part I've always told people, if you've never stood on the sidelines for an NFL game, be careful because that's like two trucks hitting at full speed, or even an LSU game or an SEC football game, a McNeese game. You get on the sidelines, that's a physical thing out there. It's no place for boys. They separate the men from the boys real quick. I never forget the first time I was on the sidelines for a Saints game, and I did that many times back in the day. I'm thinking, like, man, these guys are so big, so fast, so quick, and it's just unbelievable. So if you ever get a chance to go sidelines for LSU or the Raging Cajuns or McNeese Cowboys, do it because you'll be amazed. You'll be glad to get back up in your seat. I can tell you that.
Well, and talking about the MLB in general, we're about 80 games in or so, like I said, a little bit north of 80.
We're about
so
the halfway
point.
Most teams have played. It's different, but
just
about the halfway
about halfway through. Biggest news of the week was the fact that Mets fired their manager, Carlos Mendoza.
Speaking of that, there's a chance. Former Southern Jaguar Ricky Weeks' name mentioned as a possible. He was an interim manager in Milwaukee.
Yes.
When somebody had to leave for a family reason. His name is listed as a possible replacement. Ricky Weeks, the Golden Spikes Award winner from Southern University.
Keep your eyes on that. That's pretty incredible. But I want to ask your opinion on this before we take a break. But who, in your opinion, halfway through the season, has been the biggest surprise in anybody? You watch a lot of MLB
White
baseball.
Sox.
Okay,
that
was my answer.
The Braves, in spite of all the injuries, they're still in the conversation. And then there's been some teams that have been terrible, like the Mets. Whatever, but baseball is going to, it's going to take a back seat to the NFL and college football for most people, but I'll be paying attention because I think August and September is going to be incredible in MLB.
You would probably be a millionaire right now if about, let's say, a quarter of the way through the season, if you'd put money on the White Sox to be have the best record in Chicago, let alone this high up, of course, in the American League, because, Chicago, the Cubs came out to such a fast start. And they have cooled off. They're now 6 games back above 500, where they hit 500, or even with 500 about 2 weeks ago. They're now 6 games above 500, but still not doing as well as the White Sox in terms of games back from the top of the league. They're only 5.5 games back of the Yankees and 4.5 games back from the Rays. But they're sitting in third place in the American League. So.
Hey, one other thing we tell you again about BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. They're family-friendly, attention to detail, the customer service, local community that they support. Kids eat free on Monday night with a purchase of an entree. That's a dine-in special. Famous carrot cake. Full bar with craft cocktails, weekend brunch going on right now, or will be going on tomorrow. Open 7 days a week. They support the local farmers and vendors. Focus on quality, and here's the thing: everything fresh and in-house.
That's the big
here
thing.
At BRQ. There's a culinary institute that's owned by the same people that's part of this. They got the backyard, the big outdoor area in the back. You need to check out BRQ. Connect with them on social media. You know the drill there. Follow them on all the platforms. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. We're here once a month doing it for you. We'll be back next month as well. So
come get the bacon wrap pepper jelly shrimp.
That's an A+.
Tell them Tommy and Hunter
Tell
sent
them you heard about it on Sports Shorts Radio.
Delicious.
We'll take our final break of the program. We'll come back. Baton Rouge, Lafayette Lake Charles. We'll put a wrap on it. Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan. Stay with us. ESPN Radio, Baton Rouge, Lafayette Lake Charles.
Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Final segment here on this Saturday from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge. Don't forget, Baton Rouge, Rougarou, Lake Charles Gumbo Gators in Lake Charles tonight at Joe Miller Ballpark. In Baton Rouge tomorrow at Pete Goolsbee Field. Gates open at 6, first pitch at 7. Tommy Chrysan, Hunter McCann with you. Hunter, as we roll through the final segment here, tell everybody what's up for the USA and the World Cup. You did an extensive World Cup thing a little while ago. Remind everybody now.
Let's just preview Wednesday. USA plays Bosnia-Herzegovina. Like I mentioned earlier, they're heavy favorites in that matchup. They are expected to advance. They will be, if they do, not to jump the gun, but if they do advance, they will play the winner of Belgium and most likely South Korea. That will be figured out later today. But if everything shakes out how it's expected, it will be Belgium, South Korea. If Belgium were to advance play the United States, they did play earlier this year in a friendly where the U.S. fell to Belgium 5-2. They were tied 1-1 at that friendly at halftime before they quickly unraveled. There was 3 goals by Belgium in like a 15-minute span, and they ended up losing that game 5-2. So the United States struggled against that Belgium team, but at full strength and the way that they have been playing, USA it looks better than Belgium, who last night did beat New Zealand 5-1. And also, the last time the United States played Belgium, 12 years ago, 2014, if you remember that one, round of 16 matchup where the United States fell 2-1 to Belgium. So a little bit of history there. If the U.S. is able to advance and face their most likely opponent in Belgium in the round of 16. But it's all about the round of 32. Leading into Wednesday, once again, the knockout stages begin. It's do or die. At this point now, the U.S. lost to Turkey on Thursday against a team where they rested a lot of their starters. It didn't matter, anything like that. So that loss really didn't matter. Now your losses matter. Everything on is if the United States loses the game here on out, they are going home. So they will play Bosnia-Herzegovina 7 o'clock on Wednesday. That game will be aired on Fox, and you could watch them. And also 3 o'clock earlier in the day, if you want to get on the action, that will be when Belgium plays. Like I said, most likely South Korea, who would be the winner would advance to play the United States if they do advance. So a lot of action Wednesday with the United States future and hopes. But right now, Tommy, it feels like get yourself into the quarterfinals and see what happens and be one of those final 8 teams.
Well, I know USA plays in Santa Clara Wednesday. Where is the final game? Where's the championship match at?
It is in New York, I do believe. I can't remember the state. I can tell you right now.
Yeah, look that up real
I know
quick,
the prices of tickets. You want to go?
No, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, you can buy me the ticket there.
I will. No, I'm not buying
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No, I'm a little short. But no, if the U.S. is in the semifinals or the finals, I will watch.
A World Cup final is in New Jersey, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey.
Well,
but yes, that's
so really it's in New Jersey.
Correct, New York, New Jersey, whatever you want to say. But they're playing in MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So like I said, those tickets going for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's pretty insane.
That is nuts.
But it will be even more insane if the United States is playing.
Sport in the world.
That's why it's that much.
Right.
It'll be even more insane if somehow the United States is playing for a World Cup final in New Jersey. A lot of time to go before then, but that would be
Mardi Gras times 1,000.
I couldn't even express to you in words.
Mardi Gras
times
a million.
Yeah, it might be. Where how big soccer is, and I know it's not the biggest thing in the United States. It will be. If the United States can find themselves if the United States somehow get to the quarterfinals and make it to the semis, you better hang on to your hats. Tommy Chrysan's joining the club of soccer fans here in the United States.
I'll be watching if they're in the semifinals or the finals. I can assure you of that. I'll call you and find out what channel they will be on. All right, Hunter, as we wrap this up, special thanks to Joel Davis. Ronnie Rance joined us in hour 1. Don't forget, if you're in the Natchitoches area, lasportshall.com. You can get tickets for tonight, or you can watch it on LPB live, the induction ceremony, lasportshall.com. Don't forget Rougarou and Gumbo Gators in action against each other tonight in Lake Charles, tomorrow night in Baton Rouge. We'll have Sports Shorts Monday, 6:30 p.m. from Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Don't forget Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. I'll have specials on all the meat for the 4th of July if you're going to do some grilling, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, though, for next week for 250th anniversary of our country. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, I'm looking forward to being at Fat Daddy's and being able to enjoy
I was
myself.
in high school for the bicentennial, the 200-year birthday. So I'm no longer in high school, but we'll be doing a show next Saturday, 4th of July, from Fat Daddy's in Plaquemine.
Well, and I'm trying to see right now, I do believe No, okay. So I wanted to make sure. I knew that they were going to play July 4th through 6th, United States in the round of 16. They will play that Monday, so they will not play on the 4th of July.
All right, so we will be here next Saturday, even though it's 4th of July. We'll be on the air. We'll stream it on Facebook, YouTube, and X. We'll be at Fat Daddy's in Plaquemine, enjoying their good stuff. And again, special thanks to all the great folks here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Get the bacon wrap shrimp. You need to get that. Get the burnt ends, the brisket burnt ends. That's 2 specials. You got the brunch. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. Order a piece of the carrot cake. Like 10 people can eat it.
You can't even describe how big it is.
All right, Hunter, great job. I had fun. Ronnie Rance was away from the microphone today, but we'll be back next week, as I mentioned. Don't forget Sports Shorts Monday and Sports Shorts Friday. On behalf of Hunter McCann, I'm Tommy Krysan. Thanks to Braxton back at the studio. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, Tiger fans.